I'll just I'll just share my screen. I've got a small PPT in terms of a few slides, and more of it it's going to be like talking points. Probably, yeah, a direct session would be much better. But yeah, today we are in this kind of a new norm, I would say. So probably, so I have to kind of run you through some of the aspects that whatever that I want to talk. Because I know now it's going to be the initial part. It's going to be in a kind of a one-way communication. But towards the end, let's have a discussion where you can also throw your questions, and I would be able to answer whatever that I have been exposed to. Okay. I'm just sharing you my screen. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
The employability skills for future. So that's the topic that has been given. And so before we are just getting into it, I'll just give a brief intro. Of course, Anto has given you a little bit description. I also want to highlight a few more things. So I've got 10 plus years of experience in HR. I work as a HR business partner. So I've been handling campus hiring for the last 6 years. Apart from the HRBP, predominantly with my previous company, Pyra Technologies, which is a CMM level 3 company, and also a product company as well. So there I handle campus interviews where on a every year on year basis, we used to hire like close to 70 to 80 people. And I was a primary kind of a spark in terms of the campus hiring. So I know what's the expectation from our company, from the company's perspective, as well as from a technology per se. So that is something also that part exposure. So then in terms of the recruitment strategy and leveraging skills, so again, since I worked as a HR business partner, I was able to understand what each and every business unit has in terms of the competency or the skills that is required. So I was able to kind of connect and come up with those kinds of strategies, because today hiring has multiple portals, no? Like the campus interviews where we can take fresh graduates, we can take experienced people, we can take from contract staffing and various other aspects. So that is again one area that I worked on. And data insights in terms of changing technology trends. So I've been 10 years and predominantly more into the IT sector that I work with. So I've seen the kind of changes that technology has evolved these days. So that's one thing that I have some insights so that I'll be able to kind of walk you through on that as well. From a personal front, so I'm married. My wife works as a technical lead in Altron, a company called Altron, which was previously Addison Technologies. Yeah, now Capgemini kind of acquired Altron as well. That's 1 year. So I've got a son. He's in his kindergarten, senior kindergarten, and I've got a daughter. She's 9 months old. So that's more about my personal side. I'm based in a place called Torrepakam in OMR in Chennai. So moving on to the employability skills. So before that, yeah, what is a future skill that is required is what is the question. But this is one thing that I wanted to showcase, because today, at least in this target audience, I think the students are probably in the Gen Y or the Gen Z. That's the generation that students are here, right? But everyone's mindset is different. So probably the success mantra, the success formula, what our parents or our seniors had might not even work for us. So because they had to go through a different kind of environment that they were into. So this is one thing that I wanted to showcase, because as you see, right from the baby boomers to the Gen X or the Gen Y or the Gen Z, the next one is the Gen Alpha. So that is that. So the trends has been evolving in terms of the behavior aspects or the context or the conception. So what people have been acquired. I'm part of the Gen Y. Yeah, I'm kind of a millennial. Where I was also exposed starting from the TV or the mobile or the emergence of internet, as you see. So a lot of aspects that I've been exposed. So they always see in social media, right? The people who are born between 80 to 90 are the ones who have been exposed to almost most of the aspects. So yeah, I am part of that generation. But today, as you students are evolving into the job industry, you're there in your second year, third year, and the final year. So you're going to get into the career aspect. So with that, so you need to be what and all is expected. So that is one thing that I wanted to say. So today, young people are different from the ones who have not been estimated. That's a mindset that you need to always think of. And one other point to remember is what works for one might not even work for you. So, but there are certain good points or learnings that each and everyone can have from every generation. Okay, coming to the employability skills. So one predominant thing, like when I've been into the campus interviews, so we have a strategy in terms of what is our assessment platform. To give you a picture overview, I know some of you would have sat through campus interviews, or you know what's the format. So initial round would be a kind of a online assessment, right? Where you'll be having the problem solving skills, which is your logical reasoning, the MCQs, multiple choice questions, which have technical aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal ability, or whatnot. So why do we do that? Now that is one thing that you see here, which is the problem solving. So the initial part is problem solving. One thing, it might be kind of a round where we can also filter the people now, because when there's large volumes of candidates by 500,000 or so much, we won't be able to interview everyone, right? So we need to kind of filter, do the filtration. A screening round has to be recorded, and based on that, the initial round is the problem solving. Now, that's one of the reasons most of the companies has a start off with an aptitude test, because that's very important. Today, irrespective of whichever role that you're getting into, or whichever industry or whichever role that you're getting in, problem solving skills is one thing which is very, very critical for any kind of a job market today. So what it is, it is basically analyzing the facts and figures, defining the challenges and various other aspects. Because in your day-to-day aspects, there might be a set process that you will be exposed to in your work, but there will be a lot of unnecessary or untoward things that might be coming up as problems or roadblocks. So in those cases, how do you kind of work out and come along with as a workaround? So that is the part where the problem solving skills comes into play. So this is a basic thing that is really expected from everyone. So when you're able to identify the problem, because if in say, let's say if you're not able to get the root cause, the root cause RCA, root cause analysis, if you're not able to identify that, you'll be hitting on the wrong side, correct? So probably your target might be here and you might be hitting somewhere else. So which again doesn't solve the problem, and you won't be making any progress. That's one of the reason problem solving skills is something very important. So how do you, now of course I've highlighted this, but how do you kind of churn this skill? Because everyone has their own personal traits, personal skills, but how do you kind of upskill yourself in this area? So you need to try working on various aspects. And of course, from aptitude, just don't blindly, because that's something also that we have noticed. All the people, all the students, right? So they have a thumb rule. Okay, have this formula, do this, next step, next step. You'll be able to come up with a solution. But again, don't do that blindly. So try to understand the underlying objective behind it. So think from a different perspective. Now, what is again solving a problem? Of course, like let's say you're required to travel between a point A to the point B. You can just travel straightly, or else go from point A to a somewhere, like say a C and a D, and again come to B. So again, it's like going about. So you also have to see how to solve the problem more effectively and precisely. So that's a various aspect that you need to solve skills. So that's something you can try picking up by practicing a lot of aspects, various things. So that's one point that I wanted to highlight. Communication skills. Communication, of course, that's the basic thing. I always used to say right from the time that I was born and brought up in Madurai. I was born in Madurai. After that, I was in Vizag, Visakhapatnam. And from there, I came to Chennai. So one thing that I learned is, now my mom is basically a Tamil MA graduate. So I was exposed to Tamil, Telugu, English, and Hindi. But on top of it, when it came to school, and when it came to the career part, English is very, very important. So I had to kind of specialize myself into that. That's one thing that everyone should be working, because if you are able to talk, various aspects is that. Now, two important aspects. One thing is in terms of how you present yourself also. Now, the soft skill aspect, the soft skill side of it is very, very important for you to be employable. Now, today, as you've been seeing a lot of statistics that's that, a lot of people are coming out as like so many lakhs and lakhs of engineers that's coming out. But who is able to kind of get an opportunity? One who's able to clear the tech skills, the problem solving, and then they get into the group discussion and various other aspects. So that is where your communication comes in. Distribution communication distribution English பேசுறது மட்டும் இல்ல. So I know most of you know Tamil as well. So I'm going to try to use some Tamil as well as in English. So distribution English பேசுறது மட்டும் முக்கியம் இல்ல. But again, talking the right thing, that is very, very important. So let's say there's a question that's thrown at you. How do you kind of answer? How do you infer that question? The question எந்த அளவுக்கு நீங்க புரிஞ்சுட்டு அதோட ஆன்சரை எப்படி ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்றீங்க. ஸோ தட் ரெஃப்ளெக்ட்ஸ் இன் டர்ம்ஸ் ஆஃப் யோர் தாட் ப்ராசஸ். எப்படி யோசிச்சு அதை எப்படி ஆன்சர் பண்றீங்கன்றது இட்ஸ் வெரி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். So how you are looking at this eye contact, the confidence when you're talking. So that and all is very, very important. So that's why I put that as one other important aspect that each of you need to capitalize on that. Now there is an MTI. MTI is mother tongue influence. If you go to a BPO industry, they do a listening skills, listening and speaking skills, whether நம்ம பேசும்போது தமிழோ இல்லை தெலுங்கோ அந்த கூட அந்த மதர் டங் லாங்குவேஜ் வந்து கூடயே வரும் அண்டு அப்படி நம்ம அது மாதிரி பேசுவோம். So several times, of course, those are the days. There was a phase when the corporates were looking at MTI as one other important factor, because today when you come into an IT industry or an ITES industry, you're going to be exposed to a lot of overseas customers. So it's very important that people sometimes it is very irritable. So that's one of the reasons they were very particular on the MTI. But now the mindset has changed. So today it's all a global village. So people understand everyone comes from different ethnicity, and they do, of course, take that and they work along. So, but that's one other aspect that you can work on. Certain times, a lot of people use fillers. For example, when I used to start, now on the like and on the vaathiya vandu nariya vaati use pannuven. Enoda conversation pesumbodhu like endradhu. There's a lot of fillers that people tend to use when they communicate. So one thing that I would also encourage you to is to talk to your friends, with your parents, or with your professors, whoever. Try to talk as much as you can in English and try to be part of various aspects. There's a lot of platforms is available, like say Toastmasters, or just like as a group of friends sitting together and talking about, let's say, a movie that you watched, or probably a newspaper or article editor, or something that you can discuss about in English. So that way you can give a lot of feedbacks. So you can try to form it a small kind of a Toastmasters club or something where people can take different roles and try to identify those things, and that way you can increase your communication. But that is very, very important in today's world, because you'll be able to sell yourself much better, because only it's what you talk is going to communicate more about who you are as a person. You might be talented, really talented, but Anna, you need to convince that in the interview process, like say 5-10 minutes that you're going to get, that is the time that you have to pitch in and sell yourself. So that's again a very, very important aspect of getting a job offer. Adaptability and collaboration. So this is again another attribute, a software attribute, but it's very important. Today, there's a lot of scenario-based questions, assessments that's brought in the hiring strategy today as an industry. Like how adaptable are you? I don't know if you have heard of it, psychometric assessments in Trigger. So that is something and all which we have brought in. So today, the online assessment platforms are completely AI based, artificial intelligence based, where they try to pick up some of your behavioral traits based on how you respond to certain questions. So that's again another important part, like how adaptable you are to a situation, how willing you are to collaborate. Let's say I give a feedback or negative feedback. I mean, you don't have the skills, it's not worth it. When they give feedback at your face, when they are treating you separately, like how do you deal those kinds of situations? Are you open to go and give feedback? Are you open to go and ask help to others? So in the mari sila traits are something that is very, very important in today's job market. That's again one area that you need to think for, because this is where the attitude comes in. Like how what is your attitude or perception towards working? So that's again another aspect which has to be really given a lot of importance. So coming to the technology wise, technology use, since I predominantly, my employment has been more into the IT sector, I'm going to give you a lot of overview from an IT per se. In the other sectors, whatever that I know, I'll be able to share. But yeah, from an IT sector, I'll be able to give you a complete background, what is expected today. So from the technology side, you need to definitely use a lot. Today, we are in a world where we have maximum internet and maximum benefits. Where we didn't have that kind of an opportunity those days, but today we have a lot of opportunities. So this is one thing that I kind of pulled out from Google, where the statistics says today people tend to upskill or learn programming languages and other aspects through boot camps. So this is one recent trend that is really coming up, and it is actually useful because sometimes we get to use to learn books. Sometimes we go through online courses like Udemy, University, or LinkedIn, or whatever. And sometimes we learn from our friends who teach us in a layman's language. நம்மளுக்கு புரியுற மாதிரியே சொல்லி தருவாங்க சில பேர், அதனால அங்க போவோம். But there are other aspects also that is coming up. So boot camps is something which gives you a real workshop kind of an environment where you practically learn, not theoretical. This is something that you practically learn and work on a project. So that is something which is really helping students and developers to really capitalize on that particular language or whatever that they're learning. So these are some boot camps that is actually on the top, which I again got from one of the insights. So of course the developer websites you would have seen, GitHub and other things that is there. So these are areas that you can start working on upskilling yourself from a technology standpoint in a programming side. So the other aspect that I wanted to highlight is what is the thing? Okay, in the technology, is it mobile, Android, or whatnot? And today, but today, what is the expectation? So this is something that I've pulled out from HackerRank. I don't know how many of you have gone through it, but if you are after the session, probably go and explore HackerRank and insights at the whatever that I'm showing you in the next 2-3 slides is pulled out from HackerRank. So that again is a community of lots of millions of developers that's there in that, and they took a survey. So in that, what is the important role that people, it's not just my company, across a lot of companies in the IT sector, which is going to hire. So you must have already seen this term, full stack developer. It's just not just the front end or the back end developer, it's a full stack development. So that is predominantly what a lot of companies are looking at. Why are we looking at full stack developers? Only thing is simple. Instead of hiring like 5 front end developers and 5 back end developers, I want a full stack developer with 2-3 people, which I will be able to run a small project. So to that extent, people have gone to cost optimization. So that's one of the reasons we are going for a full stack developer. And the next higher end is the data scientist. So that's again another role that's been evolving. I also saw some from your website that you're already doing a lot of machine learning, R programming, blockchain, and analytics related aspects. So that's a good thing to learn, but you have to really capitalize. That's very, very important. It's just not learning. You have to work on some raw data and try to come up with nice case studies or projects that you have worked on. So that is the one thing that is going to help you really crack the interview process. Now, for you to get an upper hand from your friends, you need to showcase that kind of an insight. So those are areas that you can work on, which is more required in the upcoming days in terms of the hiring per se. Okay. So how is it going to be now? Because after this COVID, a lot of people seem to be telling about the economic downturn, right? So I was also talking to one of my relative who is working as a VP. He's a vice president with JP Morgan in Bangalore. So prior to which he was working with Amazon as a AVP. So when I spoke to him, he was also telling how is the economy going to be changing, because a lot of hiring has gone on pause, literally. Some companies are continuing to hire, but most of the companies have already gone for pausing the hiring part. So what is it like? I was asking him, and he was telling me, so there is 2 aspects. Typically, there is an analytics side, they have 2 curves. One is a V curve. V curve now, literally the economy might be going literally on a dip, but in the faster it will grow again. So that is one curve. Another one is a U curve, that the down might be a little slow and the growth also might be a little slow. That's a U curve. But with the current analysis, based on the current recent research that's been happening by some of the senior research analytics people, what they're saying is it's more like a V curve. So that is the projection that I get to hear from JP Morgan. Of course, there are a few other people who are working on some of the aspect like McKinsey and ADP, and few other people are working on it. Probably, yeah, once I get a concrete information, probably I'll be able to share. But this is something that I kind of got it yesterday. So I thought I'll be sharing it to you. So definitely you need to be ready. Why am I saying you this is, okay, so நம்மளுக்கு அடுத்த 2-3 quarters நம்மளுக்கு hiring இருக்க போதில்லை அப்படின்னு நினைச்சிட்டு you shouldn't lose your heart. So that's one of the reason I'm highlighting this part. So for that, when it goes up, you have to be ready, or else you won't get the opportunity. Today, the job market is very, very competitive. It's not at all easy. It is highly competitive, And today, the hiring people, as hiring managers, we are very particular. We want the top talents. That's one of the reason our college one or two people, the number of hires is very, very minimal in a product or a startup based company. Whereas if it's a service based company, it's different. Of course, like CJs or Infosys, a lot of companies, they have a different strategy. But yeah, that is again a very, very important aspect that you have to think of. Okay. So some of the programming language skills. So what is it that something, when a hiring developers, what is something that people are looking at? Now, from a location specific, if you see APAC, now we are basically in the Asia Pacific region. So if you see JavaScript and Python and Java, so these are some of the top skills and also the percentage that you're able to see. So this is something you can also go refer to HackerRank, try understanding in detail if you want to get into some of the programming language aspect. I know there's multiple departments here, but since I'm coming from this IT background, I kind of pulled out some insights where people can pick up languages and try to learn and get into the IT industry also. That's one of the reasons I thought I'll show you. So it is always, it is very important that JavaScript, Python is very, very important. It's being used across various platforms. So that's something that you can focus on from a technology per se. This is again a framework wise. Like I said already, Python is really upcoming, because of which Django is basically related to Python. So this framework is also being on the rise. So as you see, you can see the analysis from 2018, 19, 20, how the framework has been going in terms of the ranking aspect. So AngularJS seems to be the first, but on the other side, if you see React.js and Django is something seeming to be the top one, which people tend to use in their day-to-day projects. So that's again another framework per se, which will help you to understand and upskill yourselves if you're not capitalized on that. So what are the other aspects? So other employability skills is the information use. Information uses today, you're exposed to a lot of information, correct? Let's say, for example, if I as a company, now I'm coming in for an interview process to your college. So you have to kind of, you'll be probably Googling something about that company, just going to the website. In the website, you have a lot of information what the company offers. Likewise, you have to gather a lot of right information, because let's say if you go to LinkedIn, you can get a different kind of an idea perspective in terms of some of the campaigns that's been running in LinkedIn. And also if you go to Glassdoor, you will know about the culture, the benefits the company offers. Likewise, there is a lot of information that's available on the internet. So you have to kind of learn things and you have to analyze and communicate in a proper way. So this is something which you're going to be using in your day-to-day work as well. Because once you have been hired, that's something you have to learn. Today, gone are the days where people sit and teach you everything. It is all more of a self-learning. They assign work to you. They assign some user story or work or project, and you have to start working on your own. So for that, you have to gather a lot of information. You have to kind of put it in the right way and implementing into your day-to-day works. So that's again another aspect that you have to start learning quickly and work on it. And the last one, I would say, is the personality traits. Now you have to be professional and enthusiastic. How confident? When does confidence come in? It's when you have the confidence, for example, when you have the technical skills, when you know how to do the programming, or when you know how to design, or when you know how to do testing or whatnot. If you know that skill stuff will come with it, you'll be very, very confident. So that is very important. And when you're able to communicate that also, that is very, very, very important. Now, how you kind of communicate whatever that you know. So these are all very, very important aspects. Creativity and transparency. So today, that is again another aspect. People don't want to waste time. Everyone has their own personal time. So even during the meetings or during the working hours, people want to stick on to the point. It's clear business expectations today, and you have to be very clear and precise in whatever that you're doing. So these are all some personality traits that you need to, how to kind of develop yourself and groom yourself to be job ready in the market. So that's one aspect that you need to think. So now that I've kind of explained you all about the technologies and some of the frameworks that's expected, what are the different roles that is available? So that's again one area that I want to quickly highlight. So in an IT sector, an ITA sector, what we have seen. It's not just development. Sometimes many people think IT now we're on development now. No, I need to do programming code. It's there. No, there's a lot of different roles which you can pick up, because I've been to multiple colleges. I've worked with, like say, some city-based colleges and also some tier 2, tier 3 colleges as well. It's only the exposure. Now that is what is very important for you guys to know what is your strength. Now, see, when I am an engineer, I did my electrical and electronics engineer. In fact, I wanted to get into an RRB railways kind of a job, but I didn't have the bandwidth to kind of prepare properly. So I had to take up whatever an opportunity, but that's when I got an exposure of what a HR role is. Only when it was in the final year, I came to know that HR is more of involved into the recruitment and other aspects. So when I got to know what the HR does is, I was impressed with it, and I was good at in terms of building relationships with people, and to a decent extent in terms of communication. So I kind of picked up HR as my passion. I did my MBA, and then I got into HR. From a recruitment to a HR business partner, today I'm heading the complete HR function for Magzter. That way I've grown. But yeah, in an IT sector, there's a lot of roles. Development is typically the programming part that I'm referring to. So that involves, which is your testing, the QA manual and automation testing, and everything that's there. So other roles, that is that business analyst. I don't know how many of you have gone through some of these roles. This is just something, whatever that I had on top of my mind, I just kind of populated. Business analyst is someone like who works, may not be completely a techie guy, but more of a techno-functional kind of a role. Typically who works with the customers and understanding the requirements, communicating with the development team and coming up with a proper document and presenting it in the right way and being a bridge between them. So that's a business analyst. Likewise, there is UX designers. UX designing is today is very, very important. Today, as you see, in every aspect, starting from the flyer or website or any product development or anything that per se, you say that is always, there's a lot of designer impact, dependency on designers. So designers is one of the high paid roles. You have the creativity and the skill. That is one thing that you can really pick up. I'll just give you an example here. Okay, I hired a person. We hired one candidate called as a candidate from VIT. We went to VIT college for campus hiring part. So there was one guy who sat through for the initial online assessment. He did crack the aptitude, the programming assessment also he cracked it. But when he came to the group discussion for the next round, we were able to see his resume, and we felt that he's more of a designer, because in the way that he presented his resume itself, we were able to see that. So then we called him separately and asked him, so what is your interest? I see that you have done these many things. So how about designing? He said, yeah, I like designing, but I'm okay with anything. I'm okay with the designer or else even a programmer. So what we did is we immediately connected to a UX architect who's at the company, and we interviewed him. And that guy was really good, and we hired him. We offered him. So what is the package that we offered? We offered him a package of, like, say, this I'm referring to with my previous company, Pyro Technologies, where we offered him a 4.5 lakh for this guy. Okay, so within 2 years, he was so smart. He was trying to upskill himself to that extent where within 2 years, his CTC went almost 3 times. When I got really just 2-3 months back, he was almost close to 22 lakhs. So imagine a 2-year guy getting 22 lakhs per annum. He had that kind of a passion towards designing. He just not stopped with design. He went on to the next level, being more of a UX evangelist, more of into virtual reality, augmented reality. To that extent, he kind of upskilled himself, and he was so confident, and he started working with the CEO and the product managers directly. So to that extent, he was at. Even some of the experienced designers were reporting into him. So why am I highlighting is, it is your strength. Probably you might not be knowing. So one thing that I want you to take away from this session is, try to identify what is your strength. Try to connect it with the different roles in a corporate. Now, this is something, there's few things that I've shown, but you can try to relate. You can just Google it. Google is available. You can typically understand what are the different roles that is there, what is the skills that is required, and competency. Once you know that, you can try to relate yourself. Motion and graphics. This is very, very important. Today, there's a lot of video based. People consume a lot of video content. On social media, and lot of aspects. It's all a video based thing because நம்ம வந்து ஒரு பெரிய பிரசன்டேஷனை வந்து ஒரு 2-3 minutes வீடியோல less than 2-3 minutes வீடியோல நம்ம காட்டிடலாம். கம்ப்ளீட் ஒரு ப்ராடக்டோட ஓவர்வியூ வந்து ஒரு சின்ன வீடியோல you can show it. So to that extent, motion and graphics is it's upcoming really great. Some of the product startup companies like Freshworks or Zoho or any company, you see there's a lot of requirements from a motion and graphics per se. So that's again another area that you can pick things up. Network engineers. So some might people like me, even I did a lot of coding skills, but I didn't have an interest. So probably some other area that you might be interested. Network engineers, let's say you can pursue something related to a course related to CCNA. There's a lot of aspect in a growth perspective from a networking side as well. Now, once you get to know about the firewall aspects, the routers, the configuration aspects, all those things are areas that something also that you can work today. Even that's something that I learned from a previous company, where App UX. There is one other product called as App UX, which is completely a networking product. So there's a lot of network engineers, and I saw the kind of a growth that engineers had in that sector as well. So there's a lot of subject matter experts that has been there. So you can even carve out a career in terms of networking. So there's market analyst, customer success. So though you've done your engineering, it doesn't mean it should only get into the technical field. There's a lot of other roles, customer success role, where if you have the communication skills, where you have the relationship building skills, you can get into customer success or sales or digital marketing. Those are all upcoming areas that is there in today's industry, into the IT and IT sector. There's a lot of roles that you can really pitch into. Only thing is you have to realize that and try to make your profile accordingly, make your skills, upskill yourself, and try to target those kinds of companies and roles. So that way you will be getting into those aspects, which definitely has its own growth in that roadmap. Okay, and this is more of the last slide that I've kind of come up. So equipping yourself, like I said, we have talked a lot about in terms of what are the personality aspects that you need to kind of upskill yourself for employability, also from the technical per se and the roles. So here you need upskill. No, don't be content with whatever that you are. Okay, and I'm happy with it. No, you should continue learning multiple languages. Again, today, that is one other aspect that I want to highlight is, okay, உங்களுக்கு C நல்லா தெரியும், Java நல்லா தெரியும்னா, if you're really strong in that, that's still okay. நீங்க இன்னொரு language கத்துக்கணும் அப்படின்றது கத்துக்கலாம். But today, companies and startups, what they have also gone to that mode where language agnostic, meaning, for example, if I'm hiring for a Python developer, it doesn't mean only if you know Python, I will hire you. Even if you're good at, like, say, C, C++ or Java, I might still hire you. I will hire you. Because even that's the strategy that's coming up. Because we people have gone to that mode where if one candidate is really strong in one programming language, we are pretty sure that he can pick up the other language much quicker. So that is the expectation today. So it is a language agnostic trend that is going in the next time. So whatever language that you're picking up also, try to be really strong in it. Know the in and out of it. Try to do the logical way. And let's say, even if you're doing the coding, how to write the code in a more optimum way. So those are all other aspects that is really something which people are evaluating today. Okay. So learn and explore. So learning doesn't stop. So you have to continuously learn and explore. And who knows, your career might be getting into different aspects today. A lot of companies give you IJP, internal job posting. So let's say internally you might be getting into one role. After 1 or 2 years, you can switch into different roles also within the company and pursue your career. So that's again one area that you can think of, you can do. And a strong profile. So you need to really have a strong profile, because your resume is something gonna talk to you before you go and pitch in yourself. A strong resume is very, very important. What you're gonna put. Don't just copy paste some other format which some of your friends are having, or whatever Google throws at you. Try to be showcasing yourself what you're strong at. Okay, that's one other important part. LinkedIn profile. Create a LinkedIn profile that gives you a lot of platform in terms of learning and collaborating with a lot of people. You know, that's what I was telling the last aspect as building a network. Today, some of the companies don't come for campuses. So what are the other ways that you can try to know? So LinkedIn and some of the sites like Hacker Earth and HackerRank. So Aon, Hewitt, there's a lot of websites, a lot of other companies that are coming up with this kind of a large forum of hiring. So that way also you can get into hiring. But how do you know that? once you are available on the social media and LinkedIn. So that's very, very important. Do your homework. Very, very important. The one thing that I, as an interviewer, is something that I expect. Like, so let's say you're coming in for an interview process. I want you to really do your homework. What is my company? What is the services that we offer? What is the technology stack? Where are we located at? What is the company's turnover? So you need to ask those kinds of questions. You need to understand to that level, because if you're really passionate about getting into a company, let's say Amazon or a Goldman Sachs or whatever is your dream company now, you need to learn everything about it. Know what is the latest news that's there? What is the recent award that they've got? To that extent, you have to go. Probably even go connect with some of the people and try to get the feedback. What is the culture? All aspects you need to do. So to that extent, you need to do your homework. When you do that, the probability, the chances of you to crack an interview process is much, much higher. Trust me, this is something that I have personally experienced, and which is something I also do, which has been helpful for me. Okay. So these are some of the aspects from an employment standpoint, which is really required. Okay. So I'm just pausing here. So if there's anything else, I know we are also, I think, almost on time. So probably 5-10 minutes, we'll stop it for any kind of a questions.
Thank you, sir. Audience participants, please ask your queries. You can unmute your mic and you can speak with him, or you can type your queries in the chat window also. Participants, please.
So any question, like in terms of any expectation, what and what points are you evaluating? Any questions, just let me know. So whatever that I know, I'll be able to help you out. What are the aspects that as a company, as a hiring manager, we look into it, anything.
Participants, please.
And sir, you can ask some questions from students' point of view, sir. Anto sir, is audible?
Yeah.
Emmanuel sir, a very good presentation. A small doubt from a student side. To get into the IT company, if the student may not be good in developer side, maybe he or she may not be good in programming, what kind of area they can choose?
What kind of?
What kind of area they can choose? Maybe networking or something like that.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, like I said, there's something that I covered in the last point as well. Probably you might be good at something else. Development skills, which is testing. It might be into testing or designing side, or into sales, customer success, solution engineer. So we have hired, personally in my experience, though developers interview, but when we're able to really see the talent in candidates, we try to pull them out separately and try to map them to the roles. One thing that you can also look at is in terms of an engineer, IT sector, there's multiple roles. Today, there's a lot, even from a lead generation to a market research, or corporate communication or marketing. So anything. So people are, today industry is okay to even hire engineers for a marketing role. Now, as you see, a lot of startups and other things, they look at only the skills and your thought process. So other areas, that's something that you can pick up from your own interest or passion. So you have to identify. So that's one of the reason it's very, very important to map your interest to the requirements in an IT industry. That way you can easily grow quickly in the career ladder.
Emmanuel sir, one question. Now many students got the offer letter and they are waiting for the joining letter.
Okay.
Yeah. But their exams not yet completed. And what they can do during this lockdown days? Any suggestion from your side?
Okay, so one thing is like who have got the offer, which company that they've got, they need to understand or try connecting with the HR in terms of what is the probability of environment that they'll be working on. For example, some corporates have a clear environment. For example, in a Ulla or a project that's going to be completed in a Java or a Python kind of an environment, whatever it is that if they let you know on that, that way you can try to learn on that a little bit in depth, so that you're very ready once you get into the office or once you get into the company, you can much quickly adapt yourself. So that's one aspect that you can do. Another aspect is in terms of competency building, in terms of your communication skills, basics of even presentation skills, or those are all other areas that you can groom yourself. Yeah.
Okay, sir. One question. Chat window.
As a finalist structure,
as a final year,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wish to enter into a skill-based company, and what will be the most important quality of HR from software knowledge, apart from software knowledge, from such a what into getting into civil. So from a civil per se, of course, the employability aspects, I showed you some of the attributes, right? The softer aspects in terms of your communication skills, in terms of your relationship skills. Now, how much willing you are to kind of collaborate, your flexibility. Now, when I say adaptability and collaboration, how flexible? Let's say if you're getting into a civil-based company, there are a lot of roles in the civil industry. For example, some of my friends who are into procurement in civil industry. For them, it might be just going into an office and coming out. But some of them might be a civil engineer who has to literally be on the field. It will be required for him to travel, for him or her to travel whenever required, even with short notice or longer notice, for longer duration within India or even overseas as well. How flexible or adaptable you are. So those are all other aspects that I as a HR personally would be looking at. Because let's say they might be offering a hefty package. Now, for definitely a 3 lakh or 4 lakh or whatever, even a higher package also. So that's something that we will be really looking at. You need to have that passion in terms of learning and being flexible and adapt to the expectations of the company. So that's another very important aspect. And what is your mindset? Let's say if in case you're a female, how are you going to adapt with the kind of an industry where it involves a lot of male? So what is your perception? How will you be able to accommodate into that kind? Of course, today we are in the age of inclusivity and diversity. So that is one of the reasons many companies are trying to hire certain percentage of females. So to maintain the gender ratio in the company. So lot of other aspects, that's something from an HR perspective we will be looking. Before getting into the interview process, you have to be very clear. Now, that's one part. You shouldn't be coming into the HR round and then say, sir, I have to check with my appa, ma, I have to check with my dad, my mom. She's not well. I have to take care of them. I know you have your personal commitments, but when you're coming into the interview process, எந்த அளவுக்கு நீங்க அந்த groundwork பண்ணிட்டு வந்திருக்கீங்க. That's what I was telling. Do your homework properly. என்ன role? What is the role expect today? Is it required to travel? If the question comes for you to work a night shift, for example, overnight, 24/7, you have to work. The project on the work பண்ணி அவங்க will be okay. So அந்த மாதிரி aspects கூட you should be ready to answer. You shouldn't say no, I have to go think through and all. But to that extent, you should be ready. And again, just not ஒரு ஆஃபருக்காக எல்லாத்தையும் வந்து சொல்றதுன்னு கிடையாது. How clear, whatever that is doable from your end, you should be able to tell, communicate. So does that answer your question, Jalen?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. That's
okay.
From the participants, any more questions? Sir, there is another question in that window.
That the way the companies are going to conduct their interviews going to be through online meeting. Do you think it is going to happen at some part of the future? There are already companies that have started doing online interviews. There's a lot of platforms that has this feature. Now today, I work with multiple platforms. I've worked with CoCubes, I've worked with Xavier, I've worked with eBox. There are multiple platforms that we have worked with. I've worked with Hacker Earth. So all those platforms has a virtual interview process. Typically, even if they don't have, we always do a Skype or a Zoom or a Google Meet. We have all those platforms, but we even do a assessment directly. Even at Magzter, that's one thing that we are doing today. Where we do a Skype interview, we ask them to do the screen sharing. We give them a logical question. We ask them to solve it over there. So that way we are able to see real time if the candidate really capable of doing it. So that's another important aspect that you have to be ready. And I already saw that Xavier already has done some session in terms of online what is expected, because even coming in for an online interview, because the way things are going about, we should also be ready how to come in for a virtual interview process also. So those are all areas that you definitely need to be ready. Hiring is going to continue. Online platform is going to be happening for sure, because there are a lot of companies who have already taken a lot of flexibility in terms of working out of home. So definitely there's no other code to hire people other than the online interview platform.
Participants, any other queries? Okay, participants, please note, in the chat window, we have already shared a link for the feedback. So please enter the feedback in that link. It is mandatory. We will be issuing the participation certificate. For that, your name, your email ID, and your other details will be collected from this feedback. So please enter it correctly. Any other questions from the audience? So Emmanuel sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So no more questions from the audience side, sir.
Okay.
Sir, any note from your side, sir?
I think I'm good. Hopefully, I don't know how much it was informative or useful for the students. Probably not direct on that. I think it would be a little more interactive.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, you are. Yeah, I was also expecting some more interaction, but the students are something. I don't know about that. So thank you very much, sir. You have given a good guidance to our students, so they will be following that, sir. So I thank you very much, because I know that you are busy with your work from home. I know that. In that you have allotted us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I also thank our management for organizing this event. Also, I thank the ICT Academy of Tamil Nadu for arranging Emmanuel sir for us for this 1 hour. Thank you very much, ICT Academy. Thanks to all. Also, I thank for hosting this event, and Anthony Jones Kumar to giving the backup, and all the software cell members of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering for organizing this event. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
So Varun, we can wind up.
Yeah.